Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for having selected me to operate in the public service. And I want to give him an assurance that he will not regret the appointment. I want to also use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to congratulate you on your elevation to the lofty office of Speaker of the House. Notwithstanding, sir, no, Julian said it for me. I must place on record my thanks to the people of Southeast Clarendon, that great constituency that has returned me to this Parliament for the fourth time with an increased majority, although my friends on the other side told me that I would not be here. I want to tell my friends on the other side that I will be here for a long, long time. Mr. Speaker, I wish to also place on record my gratitude to the Minister of Investment, Commerce, and Agriculture and Fisheries for his intervention into what could have been a very bad and ugly situation in Lionel Town as a result of the fallout of the Monimus sugar factory. His intervention was timely. It has saved also my friend in South West. And although he told me that he was gone and he could not be here for the rest of the afternoon, I want to say a very special thanks for that intervention because we were wondering what was going to happen to Lionel Town. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Financial Secretary, Mr. Devon Rowe. Since assuming my duties, he has kept me updated on the fiscal and economic framework within which the government of Jamaica operates. I would like to also thank and give my appreciation to the team of Strategic Human Resource Management Division, led by DFS Wayne Jones, for arranging the courtesy calls with the stakeholders who are critical partners to the public sector transformation and labor relations and the rest of the team at the ministry. It would be remiss of me not to mention members of the team, such as the Minister of Finance, who has led the ministry and has done extremely well, and with the debut of my new colleague, Minister Favour Williams, who is making a contribution that is important to the development of the ministry. I want to say we make a lovely team and we will take Jamaica forward. The public sector has been undergoing transformation, modernization, and change for a number of years. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service has spearheaded its own transformation program, and I am pleased to report that we are beginning to see the effects of transformation. The ministry has already begun to realign its business processes to ensure greater efficiencies, and it has also begun an audit of its talent pool to ensure that the right talent is aligned to the right task. Transformation must be managed in such a way that the public officers do not feel threatened by the process. The ministry has engaged its senior management cadre as partners in the process of transformation, and I am pleased to report that 25 senior executives have been trained as change mentors. In addition, Mr. Speaker, 32 middle managers have also been trained as change mentors and transformation ambassadors and have been selected from across the various levels of the ministry. Transformation has begun in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service and is on the road to achieving its mark, being a center of excellence by 2018. The Inter-American Development Bank, the United Nations Development Programme have also been collaborating with the ministry to ensure that the transformation goals are realized. The Strategic Human Resource Management Division, which has overarching responsibility for the talent pool within the public sector, and importantly, provides strategic oversight and policy direction for human resource management across the sector, has already begun to rejig the public sector. This process is being undertaken so that our citizens and business partners can benefit from a more efficient, capable, and responsive public service. I want to remind Mr. Speaker that this is a process that will not happen overnight. It will take careful and deliberate planning action. Our public servants are our most valuable and accessible resource, and as such, it is important that appropriate investments are made to support their ability to contribute to the ongoing development of the public sector and, by extension, the country. Mr. Speaker, the commitment made under the Extended Fund Facility with the IMF to establish Strategic Human Resource Management Division remains a priority of this administration. To date, the top tier of the new structure has been finalized and work well underway to complete the full structure by November 2016. Staffing of the new structure has commenced and will run concurrently with the build-out of remaining structure. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is putting its house in order, and in so doing, will provide a template for other ministries, departments, and agencies to model that can be replicated through the wider public sector. To support the transformation, Mr. Speaker, the government has invested in a human capital management enterprise system to provide the requisite technology and support to help human resource professionals within the public sector to better manage the data. On December 30, 2015, a contract was signed for the acquisition and installation of human capital management enterprise system. The project commenced on January 18, 2016, and the first phase of the payroll design was completed during the fourth quarter of 2015-16. Configuration of the system commenced in March 2016 and is slated for completion during the fourth quarter of the fiscal year. This will be followed by a rollout of the system in the first 14 entities. The HR policies are currently being modernized with the input of a team of public sector human resource management practitioners. 35 of 38 processes have been completed, and the remainder are projected to be completed by the end of the first quarter of fiscal year 2016-17. Consequent on the technological and process changes, the HR operating model will have to be redesigned to enable the creation and addition of value to the delivery of government operations at the strategic level. A draft model is currently under discussion across the sector, and a wide network of HR practitioners and permanent secretaries, CEO, went into retreat during the period June 13 to 20 to deliberate and provide feedback. The results will be incorporated into the design of the model before engaging with staff focus groups. The other elements of the program are performance management and a public sector learning framework, which are being managed by Cabinet Office and mine. The IDB-funded public sector efficiency program seeks in part to strengthen the human resource management capacity of the newly formed Strategic Human Resource Management Division and HR unit in the ministries, departments, and agencies. Consultations regarding development and delivery of the program are currently taking place among the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, Office of Cabinet, and the Management Institute for National Development, with a view to commence training during the current fiscal year. The reform of public sector pension system continues to be a critical pillar for achieving sustainability of the country's economic program. The reform is intended to, inter alia, create a pension system that is sustainable, affordable, equitable, robust, predictable, and provide adequate pension, to provide for improved administration of pension benefits through the automation of the business processes, and establish a harmonized legislative framework. During financial year 15-16, activities relating to this initiative were advanced, and the following have been achieved to date. The pensions bill was tabled in the House of Parliament in November 2015. This bill seeks to establish a contributory pension scheme that will make it mandatory for all pensionable officers to contribute 5% of their basic salary towards their pension. Establish a segregated fund for the contributions at a time to be determined by the minister. Gradually increase the retirement age to 65 years. Harmonize the legislative governing public sector pensions in a single statute, and repealing several enactments that previously dealt with pensions. The bill is expected to be retabled in the House of Parliament for debate very shortly, following which the implementation is scheduled for the first quarter of financial year 17-18. A critical component of the reform is the automation of the business process through the implementation of a public employee pension administrative system, PEPAS. This system supports creation of a software application that supports the functions of the stakeholders. It is anticipated that a new public employee pension administrating system will allow retiring public servants to receive timely processing of their applications for pension benefits. And Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that we have heard complaints over and over from people working in the public sector, especially police and all that, that they have applied for the pension and they are waiting long time and cannot receive a pension. Greatly reduce manual operations throughout the pension administration process. Eliminate redundant controls. Allow public servants to view their records. Allow the GOJ to better prepare forecasts and budgets and to control the use of public funds. Support the long-term objective to implement a fully automated and efficient pension benefit claim and payout system. Following the process of competitive tendering, PricewaterhouseCoopers was contracted to undertake the development of the PEPAS. The PEPAS application will be hosted at the government's data center located at eGov Jamaica Limited. PricewaterhouseCoopers has also been contracted to maintain the application for a period of 1 year post-implementation. Thereafter, eGov Jamaica Limited will assume that role in addition to its hosting responsibilities. The original go-live date for PPOS was April 1, 2016, but that deadline was not achieved due to delays in passing requisite legislations and regulations that define the reform pension rules. The new go-live date for PPOS is April 1, 2017. To date, the contractors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, have delivered the 2 modules for the application for testing by the Pension Administration Unit. It is anticipated that the final module will be installed and commissioned by the end of December 2016. This will be followed by an extensive period of testing and user training prior to the system going live. These dates are, however, contingent on the expeditious passage of the pensions reform legislation and regulation. As part of the PPOS, sensitization program representations were made to the stakeholders over the past 12 months. These sessions involve more than 350 participants, representing more than 60 ministries, departments, and agencies, and fall under the GOJ pensions program. In an effort to alleviate the financial challenges of pensioners caused by the escalation in cost of living, $500 million was provided to grant increases to pensioners, including spouses, dependents of deceased public servants. The increases, which came effective on July 1, 2015, are applicable to pensioners who retired no later than January 1, 2013, were not less than 55 years of age at June 30, 2015, retired on the grounds of ill health, regardless of their age, as at June 30, 2015, are in receipt of a widow's and widow's dependents pension, which commenced prior to July 1, 2015. Of a total of 33,780 pensioners, approximately 27,520 were eligible for the increases. The increases granted range from $1,100 per month for pensioners receiving $60,000 and over to $2,000 per month for pensioners receiving under $30,000 per month. Widows and widowers receive an increase of $1,200 per month, while dependents receive an increase of $1,700 per month. The new rates were implemented in April 2016. Mr. Speaker, I must also state, Mr. Speaker, that pensioners will also benefit come July 1, 2016 from the increase in the individual income tax threshold of $1 million. The ministry continues to respond and provide advice to MIDAS on compensation. An average of 200 cases are processed per month. Pay plans related to job evaluation restructuring proposals, clarification of pay cases in accordance with policy, eligibility for attachment of traveling, duty and special allowance to various positions in the public service. Work continues in determining wage bill in keeping with the medium-term economic framework and public sector human resource policy. The period ending March 31st, 2016 has seen negotiations concluded with approximately 97% of the bargain units in central government, with heads of agreement signed for the 2015 to 2017 contract period, and acceptance of a general increase in salaries and allowances of 4% in year 1 and 3% in year 2. Activities are now underway to ensure the implementation of the items agreed on. Mr. Speaker, I must pause at this juncture to acknowledge my predecessor, the member of Northern Clarendon, for his stewardship of the wage negotiation with the various public sector groups. The remaining 3% that have not yet settled comprise bargain units from the health, education, and security sectors. The ministry continues to provide negotiating parameters to public bodies and statutory entities to enable them to engage the bargain units in their organization with a view to settlement. An amount of $45 million was budgeted for the contract period 2015-2017 to provide sponsorship to selected beneficiaries of children of public sector workers. The ministry currently in the 4th intake of applications for the tertiary grant for children of public sector workers. In its bid to ensure that human resource and industrial relations practitioners are in tandem with current policies and practices, the ministry conducted a workshop over a 3-day period under the theme Occupational Safety and Health. Who is responsible? A total of 109 persons participated in these workshops. Cabinet has recently appointed the new members of the Public Sector Monitoring Committee for the 2-year period 2016-2018. The PSMC, which is the key negotiating machinery between GOJ and representatives of the public sector workers, play a critical monitoring role and advisory in the maintenance of industrial harmony and economic stability. The committee will reconvene its regular meetings on Thursday, July 14, 2016. The provision of management services to the public sector saw the following key assignments completed during 2015-16 fiscal year. Office of the Prime Minister, Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission, Urban Development Cooperation, Ministry of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining, Policy Planning, Development and Evaluation Division, Human Resource Management and Administration Division, Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited, Wigton Wind Farm, Human Resource Management and Administration, Review of the Implementation of MOJ Policy Division, Justice Policy and Governance Division, Court Management Services, Management Audit, Ministry of National Security, and I could go on and on and on. Yeah. The following major accomplishments were made during the financial year 2015-16. The database of established posts within central government was maintained to facilitate linkage with Human Resource Management Information System. Posts in central government were monitored to ensure that there were no significant increases in the overall establishment. The Civil Service Establishment General Order 2015 was gazetted with a total of 34,857 posts. Surveys for wages and salaries for established contract and temporary posts, as well as the expenditure on certain allowances, were conducted to provide useful information for decision making. This information was used mainly by the compensation unit for planning purposes, provided all major research for the Strategic Human Resource Management Division. During the 2015-16 financial year, approximately $544 million was paid out to public sector employees for funeral grants and for computer, motor vehicle, miscellaneous and tertiary education assistance loans. Motor Vehicle Loans Limited increased to $1.5 million for pre-owned vehicles and $2.5 for new vehicles. The funeral grant benefit for public officers who die in service was also increased to $300,000. An additional $80.5 million was used to provide transportation services to public sector employees and for tuition refund. Scholarships, Mr. Speaker, the Minister administers approximately 20 active scholarship programs offered by Jamaica's bilateral and multilateral partners. Some of the major programs are this: Cuba, in the areas of medicine, engineering, psychology, Spanish language, imaging, and radiology. As a number 15-16, Cuba has awarded 4 additional scholarships to medicine, totaling the number of students now in Cuba to 62. A total of 39 graduates in medicine, physical education, teaching, health rehabilitation, accounting, civil engineering, chemical engineering are expected by July 2016. 8 new awardees will be taken up in 2016-17. China, undergraduate and postgraduate awards in areas such as rural and urban planning, electrical power system automation, environmental science, communication studies, architecture, engineering, business, tourism, medicine, economics, and trade. China also offers short-term specialists. 42 students are now in China studying. 10 awards were taken up in financial year 2015-16, and 6 are expected to begin in 2016-17. 1 student is expected to graduate this year in energy science and engineering. Mr. Speaker, successful applicants undergoing training valued in excess of $300,000 are usually bonded for 2 to 5 years. Depending on the type of award, they may return to their jobs, take up employment in the public sector, or serve anywhere in the country. Approximately 1,000 persons signed bonds during the past financial year. Discussions are advanced with the Hard Trust NTA to implement 7 training programs in keeping with an available budgetary allocation. These programs, and this, Mr. Speaker, is very important. These programs include cake baking, decorating, air conditioning and refrigeration, tile lane, interior decorating, floral arrangements, and motor car servicing and repairs. These are for the people training the 300 persons that you have recommended. And I want to tell you, we endorse this program because it strikes at the heart of the poor people on the road who have nothing to do. This will enable them, when they are through, to seek a job and can get a job, thereby bettering their lives. Mr. Speaker, what you have was an update for the most part on what has happened within the public sector for the past financial year leading into the first quarter of new financial year 2016-17. Mr. Speaker, while the update has been good, I have a vision for so much more for the public sector and for the people of this country who must utilize the public service. I have a vision for the public sector, one that sees the public sector being a greater contributor to national development. One, Mr. Speaker, that has its talent realigned to business processes, and one that sees the public servant benefiting from the increased growth to which he has contributed, while being mindful of the fiscal space within which our economy operates. I have a vision of a public sector that is efficient and has capacity to respond to its end users' needs within a reasonable time, and has technologically aided systems that will reduce the transactional cost to the citizen of this country. I have a vision that the public service is more transparent and public officers are more accountable for their actions in all their operations. I have a vision that as we go through this transformation, that our decision-making capability will improve. And as we improve the capabilities of our public servants, we will increase the capacity of the talent pool, who will be more visionary and in so doing be more strategic in their planning, which will redound to improving our doing business ranking. Mr. Speaker, the public service can do it. Many may ask, how will this be done? Mr. Speaker, the simple answer is through a partnership. Partnership with the public, our end users, through a partnership with the business sector, who supply us with the goods and services, and a partnership with those stakeholders who undertake public-private partnership projects for the good of our country. We can do this, Mr. Speaker, with the transformation of minds, hearts, and unity of spirit, as we rally around one common goal as articulated in our Vision 2030 statement. We will continue to engage our business partners, the end users and private sector, through forums, customer service surveys, and civic engagement across communities here in Jamaica and that of our diaspora. Mr. Speaker, transformation is not an overnight fix. It is a process. We are talking about expanding training for our leadership cadre. We are talking about improving practical skill set and ramping up implementation skills that will be required as we realign talent with and our business processes. Mr. Speaker, my vision is clear, and I intend to walk the talk. The trajectory is good, and we will, through these partnerships, develop a transformative public sector. Mr. Speaker, that is how we will drive the public sector transformation and modernization program. That is how we will move towards a new and more dynamic public sector. Mr. Speaker, over the next few years, we will continue to improve the establishment database to enhance its efficiency and effectiveness, conduct survey projects, including wage bill and allowances, and post-audit in ministries, departments, agencies, government teaching institutions, and statutory bodies. Develop procedures and systems to keep the establishment database current. Publish the Civil Service Establishment General Order and the Civil Service Establishment Order 2016. Publish the establishment for executive agencies. Update database and post in statutory bodies and public enterprise. Publish the establishment of parish councils. That is the core of my message. Mr. Speaker, as we encourage our stakeholders to partner with the public sector, we are listening. We want to create more opportunities to engage our end users, stakeholders, diasporans, the private sector, and all citizens. Mr. Speaker, as I stand here today, I bring my presentation to a close. I invite all Jamaicans to share our vision for the public service. The shift has already begun. Under my watch, Mr. Speaker, we will remove with the... Under my watch, Minister, we will move with a degree of alacrity towards facilitating a transformative public service, one that is new and dynamic, and one that will be a contributor to the Vision 2030 mission statement, Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Mr. Speaker, improving leadership capabilities, ensuring the public service is charged, capable, and international driven for continuous improvement, making the public sector a first choice as a place to work for young professionals, realigning the public sector vis-à-vis its talent and business processes, expanding the use of technology for more efficient use and processes. And I intend to work closely with the public sector modernization efforts to ensure its success. Mr. Speaker, we can do this. Mr. Speaker, we shall do this. Mr. Speaker, we must do this. I thank you.